The 2010s belonged to Spanish football. As former European heavyweights like Manchester United, Milan and Internazionale fell into decline, Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid became stronger than ever before, contesting increasingly fierce title races on the domestic scene and dominating continental competition. Between 2010-11 and 2017-18, there were just 2 seasons in which Real or Barça failed to win the Champions League, while between 2009-10 and 2019-20, Atletico and Sevilla shared 7 Europa League titles between them. And amazingly, between 2014 and 2018, just 1 of 10 European titles was won by a non-Spanish club. But in 2021, the picture looks very different. While Sevilla are the current Europa holders, the 2019-20 campaign marked the first time since 2008 that no Spanish side had reached the Champions League semi-finals. Real Madrid were convincingly beaten in the last 16 for the second consecutive season, and Barcelona were handed an 8-2 drubbing by Bayern Munich, the second heaviest single-game defeat at the quarter-final stage in the competition's 65-year history. But why has the strength of La Liga dropped off so drastically? Let's find out. Falling behind in the market. One of the most telling signs that La Liga is enduring a down period is the huge drop in spending that came from Spanish clubs in 2020. While the global pandemic made this a trend across Europe, it was felt particularly in Spain. The previous summer, only English clubs spent more than their Iberian counterparts, with La Liga expenditure topping the £1.2 billion mark. The following year, it couldn't have been more different, with Spanish clubs dropping below those in Italy and France in the spending stakes. While expenditure in the Premier League dropped just 10.6% to £1.26 billion, the other top 5 leagues experienced a more significant drop-off, with Serie A's spending dropping 35.3% to £686.5 million, Ligue 1's dropping 36.3% to £385.7 million, and the Bundesliga's falling 56.7% to £290.5 million. But nothing compared to La Liga, where an expenditure of £367 million signalled a huge 70.5% drop-off on the year before. Real, Barça and Atletico had accounted for 61% of the league's total expenditure the previous summer, coughing up £760 million in transfer fees between them, with Joao Felix and Eden Hazard both arriving in Spain for upwards of £100 million. Seeing their market activity drop off so drastically was always going to have a profound effect, but clubs outside the traditional top 3 were also much quieter than usual. Whereas in 2019 there were 6 Spanish teams that spent over £60 million, in 2020 there were just 6 sides that spent over £10 million, with Real Sociedad as well as Betis and Valencia, 2 clubs that ranked among the highest spenders the previous year, joining the league champions in spending no money at all on new players. This was also influenced by La Liga's decision to ban clubs from spending more than 25% of their annual income on transfers, in stark contrast to the free-spending Premier League, where all but 2 of 20 clubs splashed over £20 million, with 12 sides spending over £50 million, and West Ham the only club to register a net profit. And this is just the latest restriction which has seen La Liga outfits unable to compete with their English counterparts in the market. While Real and Barça remain dream destinations for their prestige and global fan base, stricter tax laws in Spain mean that for players wanting to maximise their pay packet, the Premier League and Serie A present a much better opportunity. As Goal.com's Mark Doyle writes, a player signing a 5-year contract worth €25 million per year and earning a further £50 million in image rights, €40 million of which is coming from abroad, would pay €130.4 million in tax in Italy, and even less in the UK, just €120.7 million. In Spain, the taxman would be entitled to €215 million of his earnings. Cristiano Ronaldo, Jose Mourinho and Lionel Messi are just 3 high-profile figures to have been handed suspended prison sentences for tax fraud by the Spanish courts, and it was one of the reasons CR7 left Madrid for Juventus in 2018. And while the supremacy of Premier League television money, as well as billionaire investment, has made the English top flight a tough rival for La Liga over the past 20 years, the rise of foreign ownership in Italy has seen Serie A begin to catch up again. The top Spanish clubs now face more competition than ever in the transfer market. Transition. With La Liga's standing in world football so reliant on the success of its biggest clubs, the fact both Real Madrid and Barcelona are in a state of transition has not done Spanish football's reputation much good. Having been unable to replace Ronaldo, Real Madrid remain over-reliant on a 33-year-old Karim Benzema, whose productivity has helped mask the shortcomings of their attack for 2.5 seasons. The blockbuster signing of Eden Hazard has so far proved a disaster, as was the acquisition of Luka Jovic, and while their policy of recruiting Brazilian teenagers may bear serious fruit in the future, it isn't doing a whole lot for the club's on-field performance right now. Along with Benzema, a 35-year-old Luka Modric and a 34-year-old Sergio Ramos are among the top 5 appearance makers for Los Blancos this term, showing just how much Zinedine Zidane continues to rely on his veteran players. Barcelona, meanwhile, have become increasingly dependent on the magic of Lionel Messi over the last 4 years. Having spent €395 million on Dembele, Coutinho and Antoine Griezmann, that is a big concern. And with Sergi Busquets and Jordi Alba both ranking among the club's top 6 appearance makers this season, despite considerable funds being used to bolster the midfield and fullback positions in recent years, it's clear the club's recruitment strategy has been well below par. Furthermore, given the financial crisis Barca currently faces, it's uncertain as to when we will see them progressing back to the level they were at before Luis Enrique and Neymar left in 2017. Like with Real, the club has exciting teenage talents coming through, but right now that isn't enough for them to be considered one of Europe's very best sides. Last season, Real won the league with 87 points, the joint lowest total managed by a La Liga champion since 2007-08, and scored just 70 goals, the lowest tally for a champion since 2006-07. It's perhaps no wonder then that Atletico Madrid are leading the race in 2021, having successfully replaced the likes of Griezmann, Godin, Juanfran and Felipe Luis in the last 18 months, which brings us on to our next point. Managers. Another reason why Atleti have thrived this season is the fact they have the league's best manager in the dugout. During an unprecedented year in Spanish football, the stability of Diego Simeone has no doubt been a positive for Los Colchoneros, and is in stark contrast to Real and Barça, where uncertainty over the manager's position has been a constant talking point in recent years. Zinedine Zidane's 3 Champions Leagues may be an incredible feat, but his side never recovered after he resigned in 2018, and he has yet to truly fix them since returning the following year. Having been backed with 5 big money signings in the summer of 2019, only one of them, Ferland Mendy, is now a regular starter, and the list of excellent players he's struggled to utilise is long, from James Rodriguez to Gareth Bale, Isco to Martin Ødegaard. Meanwhile, it's arguable that Barcelona haven't possessed a truly elite manager since the departures of Pep Guardiola and Tito Villanova. Luis Enrique was able to capitalise on having Suarez, Neymar and Messi all at their peak, Ernesto Valverde made the side functional if unspectacular, Quique Setién was a poorly timed and ultimately disastrous appointment, and Ronald Koeman may not last beyond this season. It's a far cry from the early 2010s when Guardiola and Mourinho were going head to head, and Simeone, Pochettino, Bielsa, Pellegrini and Emery were all making a name for themselves among the chasing pack. Now, not even the league's biggest 2 clubs can boast the best managerial talent, while over in England the coaching quality is at an all-time high. Carlo Ancelotti, who led Real Madrid to their 10th Champions League in 2014, now manages Everton, a club which has never even qualified for the group stages of the competition. Marcelo Bielsa is now at Leeds, having brought them up from the Championship, while Ralph Hasenhüttl, one of Europe's finest tacticians, took over Southampton while they were in the relegation zone. Guardiola has stayed at Man City longer than anywhere else in his career, and has ruled out returning to Barcelona in a coaching capacity. Meanwhile, Pochettino, who was long tipped to return to Spain and manage Madrid, is now at PSG, a club which is building a global brand to rival the likes of Real and Barca. A brighter future. But there are also reasons to be hopeful for La Liga fans. First of all, Real and Barca's decline has made the league more evenly matched, and clubs outside the big 3 are now feeling the benefits of television revenue far more than they were 10 years ago. Whereas the big 2 once took home nearly half the broadcasting proceeds of the entire league, the more centralised TV deal, which was fully implemented in 2016, has seen their share drop to 23%, while clubs like Athletic Bilbao and Real Sociedad have seen their television income almost double. While it's relatively early days, this will no doubt bode well for the competitiveness of the league in the long run. And while Spanish clubs are no longer sweeping up the European titles, they're also not performing too badly. All 4 La Liga representatives have made it to the Champions League last 16 this season, a feat only matched by the Bundesliga. Considering the Premier League produced just 4 UCL quarter-finalists between 2012-13 and 2016-17, there is definitely no reason to panic. Spanish football may be going through a down period, but it will no doubt come back stronger. Barca and Real will never lose their appeal for overseas talent, and while the rest of the league gets richer, a more equal competition should drive up quality across the division in the future. So that was our explainer on why La Liga is no longer the best in the world, but what did you make of it? Do you have any thoughts of your own? Let us know in the comments below and we'll do our best to reply. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like, and why not stick on EFD by checking out our video on the Barcelona presidential elections we released last week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.